Okay, we got three guys, Brandon, Parker, and Blair. Talking sports too clean, bringing heat on the air. Yeah, they're moving with purpose, not for fame. Yeah, why they changed the culture of the game. They're moving with purpose, not for fame. Yeah, why they changed the culture of the game. Why they changed the culture of the game.
Welcome to the culture of the game. Our takes beyond the tape. We're back. We're back. It is Friday Night Live. We are back. Got my man B Jax, Brandon Jackson,
What's
Action Jackson.
happening? Friday Night Lights in honor of Michael B. Jordan, Oscar winner.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. We also got Blair Airy.
Here on terra firma, no longer 30,000 feet up, where you can see
That's
me
right.
and live and in person.
That's right. The last time we were on, you were 30,000 feet in the air.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We pulled it off, Brandon. We pulled it off.
He did. He really did, and I got to give it to Blair. I don't think I could have done it. So
Didn't annoy anybody, but that's all good.
that's all.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Listen, it's been a fun week of sports since the last time we've been on, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. March Madness, you all is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Create chaos. I mean, there's a lot of chaos going on, guys. Building stars. There's people emerging that we've never seen and heard before, and remind us why college basketball it still matters while it's still relevant. We're gonna do something tonight. We're gonna talk about the men's side, but we're also gonna talk about the women's side too. We're gonna start with the men's side first. As a matter of fact, right now as we speak, St. John's is up on your Dookie boys.
Yeah, I'm
Wow.
trying to watch, but it's kind of hard. But down 6, it's early. I'm not worried. We're pounding the ball inside. Like we were talking, before the show. You're
Yeah,
not going to go 9 for 18 again, and you
yeah,
get 27 points out of your 40. Nah,
yeah.
I'm not worried. Um,
I don't know, Brandon. We also got your boys up. Alabama is down to Michigan early, 43-47.
Yeah. Hey, we're hanging in there, which is key because they're a much bigger and more physical team than we are. So if
Yeah,
we can hang in the game, we got some good guard play, and our 3-point shooting can be special sometimes. So look, couple really good games. I got to
yeah,
give Patino the edge in
yeah,
coaching for
yeah,
St. John's, but you never know with Duke. I mean, they have so much talent, so we'll see.
yeah. Then I think we also tonight we have Tennessee, Iowa State, and we also have Michigan State and UConn. Man, these are like Final Four games already, y'all. It's crazy. It's crazy. Lower seeds. We have a lot of lower seeds competing hard. We have we've already seen a lot of tight games. I think last night, Purdue won at the buzzer, right?
Yeah,
It was at the
yeah,
buzzer, tip in.
yeah.
that was a
Yeah,
nice tip in.
yeah, yeah. It was clean, man. I was like, the ball did it go through? But I mean, it was clean. It was
Right.
clean. Yeah.
Right till the end.
Yeah, yeah. We have also had the blue blood still lurking. Again, we already said Duke Blue Devils. We got blue bloods such as UConn, but we also have balance versus dominance. In my opinion, there's no clear unstoppable team right now. But I will say, last night, Arizona put on a show.
Cal got man, that was, what did I hear? That was his worst loss in the tournament, and out of like 80 something games he's played over the years. Oof, that was embarrassing.
Yeah, you run into a buzzsaw. You ran into a buzzsaw for sure. I mean,
What
I
a
didn't
team.
expect that.
Yeah, I
Brandon, who's that?
mean,
Who's that kid from Arizona?
well, Burries is the
Bird.
kid that's projected to go lottery.
Yeah,
He's a freshman out of LA.
yeah,
Koa Pete probably be drafted, but listen, point guard Jaden Bradley used to go to
yeah,
Alabama. He
yeah,
started there, and you can see a talent then. He made a good decision, I think, to go to Arizona because he's a big guard, not really a shooter, but he's a leader.
Yeah.
True point guard when you need it. And we got to give the coach credit, Tommy Lloyd.
Yes.
Like a lot of people aren't familiar with this guy, but he coached under Mark Few at Gonzaga for a very long time.
Yeah.
And he got his own gig, and man, he's taking full advantage of it. They look unstoppable, but it's March, so you never know what's going to happen. But they destroyed Arkansas. Even Acuff had 20,
28.
20 plus,
Yeah.
but just clearly not enough against that team.
Yeah. So I want to know, do you all think that this might, or would you agree rather, that this might be one of the most wide open men's tournaments we've seen in years?
I would agree with that. I mean, I was kind of shocked to see, was it Illinois beat Houston yesterday? Because I had Houston going pretty far, and I think
Yes.
I even
That's
had them
crazy.
beating Duke in my bracket. So I'm glad that got busted. But yeah, I mean, when you watch teams, we still have our Cinderellas in there, not many, but
Yeah. Yeah.
just what Nebraska's done, until we'll talk about that a little bit later, how that game ended. But teams like that just come out of nowhere, even though they were, I think, a
Yeah.
5 seed or 4 seed.
Yeah.
They still,
Mhm.
we talked about in the past, does our talent, does our culture, do people just sort of crush under the pressure? And that obviously happened in Nebraska, so that's something we probably will get into later. But yeah, I'm just, any team can win it. I mean, as dominant as Arizona seems, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm surprised by teams like Illinois.
Yeah.
Just surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder, guys. We talk about NIL a lot amongst it. Our text messages,
Yeah.
and a lot of times it's negative. Because
Yeah.
NIL has been a problematic in
Yeah.
college sports. But
Yeah.
I wonder if it affects the quality of the games we see, the teams that are put together.
Yeah.
I also think something that is interesting is Illinois has a lot of European players.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
They got skill ball players, they're shooters, they're experienced. They beat Houston in Houston.
In
And we know
Houston.
how well Kelvin Sampson's teams are coached, but they were, they just could not get a foothold in that game. So I think you're going to see more teams. And I hope Penny thinks about recruiting some of these European guys who bring a lot of skill and experience, to college basketball. And clearly it could be an advantage. So something to think about.
You,
Go ahead.
Brandon, you bring up a good point. I mean, about the European players, because I remember Parker was talking about that. Was it UT Martin, University of Tennessee at
right.
Martin?
Yeah.
How that coach, he. I mean, Parker, you tell more about it. You understand. You were familiar with that, but I'll let you talk about that, because you brought up a good point about looking over to the European market and bringing those players in. They're the ones who sort of reinvented basketball here in recent years. I mean, the Euro step has changed the way, the NBA is played when attacking the basket.
Yeah.
And if you look at our last six I think the last six MVP award winners in the NBA are all international players. So yeah, I mean, Joseph, I mean, I'd be interested to hear what you were saying about UT Martin and their success.
Absolutely. And it's funny that as soon as he brought that up, that's what was on my mind. So it's a good segue. Yeah, this year, man, for 2025-2026 season, they had players from Lithuania, Slovenia, Serbia, Spain, Bosnia, Romania, right in West Tennessee, Martin, Tennessee, UT Martin basketball team. They had 11 countries represented this year, you all.
Crazy.
11, yeah, one of the most international rosters in NBA in sub NCAA basketball was right here again at UT Martin, just a few hours from us. Again, it's 11 countries represented, 13 international players, and the head coach, he's made it a point to build European style system. If you watch them play, they went out there and shocked the world. They beat UNLV. And so the ball movement, the spacing, the skill over isolation, they're basically bringing international basketball into the OVC, the Ohio Valley Conference. And so I agree with you, Brandon. I believe that that's what more coaches should look into. It's fundamentally sound. I know there's been a big argument about foreign players versus American players. Man, basketball, ever since the Dream Team, 92, that really, I believe, really precipitated and escalated rather the level of game of basketball to an even more a greater level here in the United States. And so you know, even with Martin, for example, you're not just scouting UT Martin anymore. You're scouting the world when you look at him play, and you can see that to Brandon's point. And so great take, Brandon. And I agree wholeheartedly. It is changing the way the game is played. It's changing the outcome of games. Uh, Illinois, again, they went and did it in Houston. That just wouldn't happen in times past. I mean, now Illinois has some really good teams. They had this kid from I think graduated this young man that graduated in the 90s that went there from Raleigh, Egypt. And so man, yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. So you have some teams. So I agree with your take on that, Brandon. So yeah, the international game is changing the landscape of basketball, and we know it's been well documented in NBA, but now it's filtering into college basketball. And I think it's a beautiful thing because basketball is a beautiful sport. You know what I'm saying? To play right and fairly. So that's good. That's good. Let me ask you this real quick. What changes when moments get bigger? Because it seemed like we've seen some big moments. We've already talked about pressure some and in a previous episode, but it seemed like something changes in some players and maybe some coaches. Forgetting. I tell you what, I would see. Of course, y'all. I am a diehard Memphis Tiger fan. I was sick back in '08 in the '08 season when we lost in the last second to Kansas. And I say the last second because the end of the regulation was when we should have won it, but we should have fouled, and we didn't. But I'm seeing a lot of people do that now. So, what do you think changes in players' mindset or in the coach's mindset? So, for me, I would say, I think there's a panic that happens, and some coaches just freeze. Some players freeze. But what is it that really changes, or is it anything that changes? Brandon, I want to start with you.
Well, it's a good question. I think a lot has to do with the game state. Are you coming back? Or are you protecting the lead?
Yeah.
I think when teams come back, they're more in the flow and they're more natural and they're just reacting.
Yeah.
When you've had a lead, now you start trying to protect the lead, maybe instead of trying to really go for the win. And you think about that Memphis Kansas game in 2008. Memphis had the lead, but they started missing free throws, which have been a problem all year.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, each possession, you're worried about making a mistake. Oh, you fouled. Oh, you left open the three-point shooter. Now what? I don't want the ball. I'm going to miss the free throws. Give it to Derek. Give it to, and so, and it affects the coaches too, because now they're like, well, we can't hit free throws. We're starting to make mistakes situationally. How do we handle this? So I think that's part of the challenge. And the second part is the situations. I mean, situationally, are you prepared for being up 3 points with 4 seconds left? Have you practiced it? Have you talked about it? Have you watched film on it? Do you know what to do? We've seen a lot of teams recently, and I think Kansas made this mistake. They had not fouled enough in the second half.
Yeah, I saw that.
They had to start fouling and fouling just to get into the bonus.
Yeah.
But then the last possession, if you foul, it's free throws. So what happens? Blow by.
Oh man,
that was awful. Scared to make contact.
That was awful.
So that's on Coach Self, where I'm like, you probably should have just stuck at the 6th foul. So I think situationally, there's a lot that goes on there, and I think the game state matters to players, coaches. I would say experience, but a lot of that depends on the player. And I know we're talking college, but I got to bring up our friend Jimmy James Harden and just his inability to
My
handle
favorite
pressure.
subject.
And so
Don't get Blair started,
see,
man. Don't get Blair started.
look, Jimmy's 35 plus years old. He still struggles, man. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of factors there, I think. But what do you think, Blair?
You know, Brandon, as you said, mentioned James Harden. I think sometimes where people maybe crumble under that pressure is they try and take too much on. Even though you
Yeah.
got the talent around you, you think, I'm the guy. I got to be the guy. And, you know, the really good coaches know they've got the guy. But sometimes you got to think, I got to reach into my bag of tricks and pull out that special play that they're not expecting. You know, you could choose, you know, back in the days when LeBron and Bosch and Wade were all on the team, you know, they run a, you think, oh, they're going to run a play for LeBron or Wade,
Yeah.
and they wind up running something for Rio. You know, it's just like, what the, you know,
Yeah.
man, that worked. But it's, you know, sometimes it also comes down to Parker and BJax. It's risk versus reward. I mean, as a coach, you got to sometimes pick that right play
Yeah.
and hope
Yeah.
that you're out coaching the other guy
That's
and
true.
hope that
That's true.
works. You know, I mean, running a play when you have three Hall of Famers that were at the time were probably definitely in the top 10 players or at least the top 20. You got three of them on the court with tons of backup, and you run a play for Rio. I mean, come on, that's kind of strange, but it works sometimes. So I think what it comes down to is when you look at these games where, you know, the outcome just blows your mind because they come up with these great plays. It's the person who's taking that shot or that's going to make that play at the end.
Yeah.
They know and they believe in themselves,
Yeah.
and the coach who runs that play for them knows that that person I'm running the play for, I have faith and I trust, and that's kind of what it comes down to is trust.
Yeah.
Because you know that play will blow up, and we've seen it hundreds of times. You know, some team comes in, they see the play being set up, they call timeout, and then they're like, okay, this is what's happening. And then they're expecting it. And so what they do is they counter attack with their
Mhm.
defense. And man, you got a good coach out there who can break that play. It's kind of like when our kids were playing basketball
Yeah.
and the press came
Yeah.
and they were
Yeah.
constantly turning the ball over, and then they changed it up, and then some kid just, you know, comes out of nowhere, breaks the press and blows
Yeah.
right by everyone. That's what it comes down to. That broken play, who can fix the broken play?
Yeah. I agree.
That's right.
I agree. Good stuff, guys. Now let's talk about something that's not a secondary conversation anymore. It's actually prime time basketball as well. Let's talk about the women's side of March Madness,
Oh man.
because if you're not watching that, ladies and gentlemen, you're missing some of the best basketball. Seriously, fundamentally sound basketball. Good games. Last minute, late minute stuff. Heroics is really good. Um, we're in a new era. We're not relying on Caitlin Clark anymore. Um, so other stars are coming up. I want to do two things. I want to first talk about where we are right now, and then I want each of us to name maybe our favorite all-time college female basketball player. But
All
first,
time.
yeah, let's deal with right now though. Blair, what are you seeing in the NCAA women's side of things?
I can sum up the women's tournament in one word. One word. That's
Yeah,
Virginia. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
yeah,
Virginia. I was, you know, I watched a little bit, and I did a little more research
yeah,
just to find out how these guys or these ladies have just come out of nowhere. You know, they're
yeah,
the 10 seed. They beat my Bulldogs. You know, they were one of the teams that played in the first four,
yeah.
and they came in, and I forget who they beat, but then in the first round they beat Georgia in overtime. Then they come and beat Iowa and double overtime. You know, I'm just
Sort of
like,
like Texas on the men's side.
yeah, and you
Mhm.
know, I've been hearing so much now about this young lady who plays for Virginia named Kamora Johnson,
Yeah.
and they're saying, man, after she finished with 28 points for in her two games,
Mhm.
they're calling her the new, you know, the new star
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
March.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and so that I'm Virginia. I'm just waiting for them. What did they? Oh, it was Arizona State they beat in the first four. Um, so yeah, I
Yeah.
mean they beat them just by 2 points. I mean they're just pulling you know games right out of the hat. The wins, and it's exciting to see that. And I will tell you another big story. I kind of read this and I was shocked. What is it? One of the number one seeds, UCLA, is on a
Yeah.
27 game winning streak.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Incredible.
so, you know, when you have that powerhouse and you have a Cinderella, you've got two great stories. You've got people who want to root for Virginia,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
who I'm going to root for.
Yeah.
And then people see UCLA, you're like, oh man, 27, we don't want to see that end.
Yeah.
These are great stories.
Yeah.
Um, and Parker, I'll say, if you want me to answer who I think is my
Sure.
all-time favorite,
Yeah.
women's player.
Yeah.
I would either have to say, and these are also the pioneers of WNBA, either Lisa Leslie
Okay.
or Rebecca Lobo from UConn.
Oh wow. I got you.
Because I remember Rebecca Lobo, just winning game after game at UConn, and she was just so dominant. And then you have Lisa Leslie on the opposite coast. And I remember hearing somewhere, I don't know if this is true, maybe it's one of those, urban myths. She was the first women professional basketball player to slam dunk a ball.
Wow.
Hmm.
I don't know if
Wow.
that's true, but
She's dunked before. I don't know. She might have been the first. Yeah.
those two are just tremendous. And I will say, when you listen to some of the tournament, and I think Rebecca Lobo still calls some games, the
Yeah.
insight she provides, man, I've never learned so much in my life just listening to her. It's kind of like how I'm a big fan of Doris Burke from the NBA commentating. Those two, I could listen to those two call games all day.
Yeah. Yep. Brandon?
Absolutely. Well, there's a lot of great stories. I think UConn, of course, is back. UConn had a little lull there for a while where their teams weren't as dominant, and then last year they went nuts, man.
Yeah.
One of my favorite modern day players, honestly, is Paige Beckers.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
because of her game is so hard to describe.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of player she is. She's just so good.
Yeah.
She's one of
Yeah.
those players that can she's not really the point guard, but she gets about 7 dimes a game. She's not a big time scorer, but she's going to get you 20.
Yeah.
She's not like the greatest defender, but she'll get a few steals. She just is such a smart, just really good ball player. Just knows how to hoop. One of those types. So I like her. I think UConn may be the favorite. It'd be interesting to see if they match up with UCLA. I hate that we're missing out on Juju this year. She's hurt.
Yeah.
Tore ACL, and they smartly are taking their time with her because she's going to be such a dominant player for a long time if she can stay healthy. But she was excellent last year as a freshman. My story really is Notre Dame, and Notre Dame had a big win today
Yeah.
over Vanderbilt, and
Yeah.
I like them for a couple
Saw
of
that.
reasons. One is their head coach used to be an assistant for the Grizzlies.
Oh yeah, sure did. Sure did.
Niall Ivey.
Yeah, it is right. Yeah.
She
Yeah.
played for them in the early 2000s. I actually had her son while she was in WNBA. And by the way, her son's not in the NBA. Jaden Ivey went to Purdue.
Yeah.
I think he's with the Bulls now. He got traded. But so I root for her. And then they have a little guard, Hannah Hidalgo.
Yeah.
I think she's 5'6". I mean, when I tell you all around ball player competitor, she's mean out on the court, man. And she will just take the ball from you. I don't know how many steals a game she averages, but it's up there. Really good ball player. So I think she's a great story. Big game tonight, I think, or either tonight or tomorrow with South Carolina, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
LSU still in there. So Flaugier is still playing. A lot of great names and personalities. So I would say my favorite player, man, I was a big fan of Shamika Holslaw. I think she and Candace Parker were just different.
Mhm.
They just played with a smoothness and agility that just hadn't seen too often. But I also got a throwback for you. We know her as Coach Staley now. But speaking of Virginia, I don't know if you all remember back
Yeah,
in the
man.
day,
Yeah.
Dawn Staley and Tammy Reese.
Dawn State.
That was a cold
Yeah.
backcourt, man.
Cold
It was
backcourt, man.
tough.
Real talk.
Point
Real talk.
guard from
Yep.
Philly.
Yep.
Had all the dimes in the world, could score. And Tammy
She was
Reese
hard nosed. Hard nosed.
She was a shooter, knocked down threes, and could play. I mean, they were some ball players, man. So those are some of my favorites too. What about you, Joseph? Who are some of your favorites?
So currently, I'm gonna stick with the Notre Dame thing, man.
Yeah,
It's just, I'm really excited about it. And I think you can see some of the coaching, her being a part of the staff of the Grizzlies. You can kind of
Yeah.
see some kind of the grit and grind. They really play tough. So I'm loving what I'm seeing, man. It's always women's basketball. If you want to learn fundamentally, you know what I'm saying, it's not all the high flying and stuff. You know what I'm saying. Some of them can, but
Yeah.
you're gonna see a lot of fundamentals. And so it's good to see it's not just one dominant player, it's a lot of parity. But if I'm gonna take it back in the Wayback Machine, I got
Mhm.
3 players. So everybody talk about Reggie Miller. His sister was a problem.
Cheryl.
Cheryl
was.
Miller scored 100 in high school, man.
Yes. Yeah.
She was a problem. And talk that stuff, man. I like it because she's rugged. Talk the stuff.
Yeah.
Then you got her. I liked Lisa Leslie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I liked her too. But Brandon,
Yeah.
my all-time favorite. Blair, I'm gonna tell you, Brandon didn't do it justice. Hailing from Queens, New York. Hollis Queens.
Yes.
Shamika Holesclaw.
Tough.
Man, y'all don't understand.
Tough.
Look, if you really like basketball, I'm telling you today, go watch Shamika Holesclaw. She was the 90s version of Caitlin Clark as far as famous and balling. 3-time NCAA champion, 96, 97, 98, 2-time National Player of the Year. Man, this is the one stat they give me about Holesclaw, though. She's the all-time leading scorer and rebounder at University of Tennessee, men or women.
Wow. Yeah. She was dominant.
Over 3,000 points and over 1,200 rebounds in college. She wasn't good. She was historic. I mean, and everybody talk about she wasn't as good in the NBA. She averaged 16 and 7. So, I mean, a champion, man. WNBA scoring champion, 2-time rebounding champion. I mean, Shamika Holesclaw, man, she was just amazing. Like, if you are a basketball enthusiast, if you just like to watch somebody play hard, somebody who was unstoppable, go look up Shamika Holesclaw. I mean, it's probably not enough tape out there on her, but man, whatever you can find, ladies and gentlemen, she was a walking bucket, a clinic. Like, I mean, she played, and I was watching something the other day, and man, it wasn't surprising because she was playing with some of the guys that would be playing out there, man. So she could play. She could play. I mean, again, before today's stars, man, that was Shamika Holesclaw. I mean, she was one of she was a pioneer, one of the first mainstream women's basketball superstars. I think if I'm not mistaken, somebody can let me know if I'm right or wrong in the thread, but I think she was the first woman on the cover of the Slam magazine. And so
Slam magazine.
Yeah, Slam.
Yeah, what a magazine.
Yeah,
amazing.
I mean, Slam magazine back then. I'm showing my age, man. I was a
look, we came up at a good time, guys.
Yeah, man.
I think, Joseph, and I talked about it with Shamika.
Yeah.
There are just certain players that the aesthetic is just so good.
Yeah.
Like basketball to me is more than just the sport and buckets and boards. It's the look. It's how you wear the uniform. It's how your jumper looks.
Yeah.
It's how you go for layups, man.
Yep.
And she just had an aesthetic to her game that was just different than the other ladies on the court.
Yeah.
And we see that, like, we talk about Jordan and LeBron and Kobe, and it's like Mike brought just that to the game. Like, as much as I love Magic and Larry, they were not pretty ball players.
No.
They were herky jerky.
Yeah.
Larry Bird's jumper was way over the side of his head.
Yeah.
Mike was just smooth, man. He's
Yeah.
the look and feel, and I just have an appreciation for guys who are smooth, ladies who are smooth on the court. And so I want to call that out too, because I think that's she brought that to the game that I think changed the way a lot of people played.
For sure. And I'm gonna say this too about Shamika Holdsclaw, something that
Mhm.
I think we need to have a whole show dedicated to this. But during and after her career, she battled mental health challenges.
Yes.
She became a mental health advocate. So her story isn't just about greatness; it was about resilience. She, as a leader in different fields that I work and serve in, man, she's one that I read about, and because she's one of the bridges for basketball to bringing the game what it was to today. I think she was a bridge, but even in the mental health awareness, she was great. She was great in that. She was great on that.
Yeah.
So let's move to our next segment, guys. We're gonna talk about something that another sport that is fresh, that's onto a fresh start. Oh my goodness, Blair Brandon.
Me up
Before we
to
got on, he was chomping at the bit.
ball game. Yeah.
Take
With
me
the
out.
Marlins and all 3,000 fans, there's one of them.
Exactly. All 3,000 fans, right. So,
Small in number, big in voice, baby.
oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday was the opening day for Major League Baseball. We went different times now because growing up, all young little
So
boys
big.
played. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we played Little League Baseball or
Yeah.
T-ball. I think it was T-ball first, right?
T-ball,
Or wiffle ball.
baseball.
Yep.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He said wiffle ball.
Kickball, whatever you
Hey,
had.
you try and
Oh
hit one
my
of those
God.
things, man.
Oh my goodness. The next
That's
thing
going
Blair
in the
gonna say,
neighbor's yard. You never find it.
right. Oh, never find
Right.
it. Never find it. Yeah.
Yep. That's
So
right.
Major League Baseball, it was opening day. It got off to a good start. I'm going to acquiesce and lean and toss this ball over, for lack of a better term, to Blair. He's our resident baseball guru. He's probably the biggest fan on here about. I mean, you know what? We all love baseball. We all love baseball. I have our favorite player, and from time past or maybe from current. But Blair is a huge, walking, living, breathing Marlin. Okay.
I've been there since day one.
So
Day
Blair, talk
one,
to us.
93.
Talk to us about opening day, man.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, that I've always enjoyed, that it's the Cincinnati Reds always start the season. They've been around since the 1800s playing, baseball. And, there's a funny quote that AJ Hawk said on the Pat McAfee show. He goes, "Hey, Pat, what was the record of the Cincinnati Reds during their first year, when it was like 1869, I think?" And Pat's like, "Well, it's like, don't worry, I'll tell you. It was 57-0. They won 57 straight games to open the season." I was like, what a weird stat that AJ Hawk knows. But he was sporting his big old Cincinnati Reds jersey, and like I said, they're always the opening game of every season. Now they share it, just because times change and money changes hands and so forth. So they are now, with a number of other teams, always the first teams that play on opening day. But I'm excited about it. The Marlins have a fresh new team. I got my boy Sandy back, and he's pitching lights out right now as I'm watching the game cast.
Oh my goodness.
He
It
gave
ain't
him
Sandy
7.
Koufax, I know that much.
Sandy Alcantara. He's got himself 7 innings pitched, 73 pitches. The man just came off of, this will help us, talk a little bit later. I want to mention it, but he just came off Tommy John surgery, and he missed the whole 2024 season. Getting him back to his Cy Young Award shape, man, they're up 2-1 right now in the Rockies. So as of right now, we're a half game out of first. So that's what I always love about opening day. Everyone's in the race.
That's right.
All
161 more to go, right?
I got my shrine over here celebrating 1997 over here and over here. One of these things I'm hoping, though, is what the changes they've made to their roster. They've got some young guys. What's his name? They got Jacob Marcy, who just came out of nowhere last year and lit
Yeah.
up the board at the end of the season,
Yeah.
hitting, and that's where they've been hurting. They finally got their full rotation back after being out. I think all 5 of their starters missed almost the entire year, so they still were competitive. So, I have hope, that we're going to be good this year, and Brandon, you got your Braves coming, and they're always perennial players. So, what do you think about the Braves this year?
Man, I really hope so. We've had some strong seasons, and last year was a bit of a downer, but I'm excited about what they can do. Cunha, fresh off a World Baseball Championship with Venezuela, and hats off to baseball. I talked before in the previous pod about how my fandom has changed a lot from my younger years, but I am excited about what's going on. And man, the World Series last year was amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dodgers, Blue Jays, just it looked like the Dodgers were out, like they lost, and they made an amazing comeback in Toronto to win Game 7. There's a lot of talk about how much money they spend. I mean, their lineup is just ridiculous, but it doesn't guarantee you're going to win. So I'm excited about just the Major League in general. What they were able to do with the World Baseball Classic, just the excitement these countries had. And even when the U.S. beat Canada, that was a pretty big deal
Mm-hmm.
because Canada won revenge for hockey, and the baseball team wouldn't let them have it, but they could beat that Venezuelan team. And there's just a lot of great pros all over the world. I think you had Italy come out, and I think the majority, if not all of their players were American guys who just,
Yeah.
had Italian heritage,
But they
which is
gave
kind
it
of
to the
funny, but
U.S. team, man.
they did. They whooped
Man,
them, and part of that was the manager playing his B team because he thought they were already in and they weren't. So just a lot of little funny things, but yeah, I really want to go to a game this year. I'd love to see my Braves, even the Cardinals, since they're a little closer, and go to a Redbirds game just to be outside, enjoy the game. I think adding the pitch count was very smart. In this day and age, if you think you're going to hold people's attention for 4 or 5 hours, you're kidding yourself.
no, I love the
You
pitch clock.
have to limit the length of these games, and I think that was a smart move by the league. So they just need to avoid, any type of strikes or any type of problems with the unions or anything, because that could happen next year. But in the meantime, let's enjoy the games. I saw Skeens from Pittsburgh got rocked. First, he was out of there in the first inning, and he's one of the best up and coming pitchers, that's going. What are the Yankees going to do now? They haven't been the Yankees without Big George.
Nope.
They don't spend as much money, and Aaron Judge, just can't seem to get over the hump. So there's a lot going on. It'll be an exciting season. I'll definitely keep my eyes on it.
Oh,
Well, I got to go ahead, Blair.
I'm just going to say, Brandon, I'm glad you mentioned the World Baseball Classic because Jeff
Yeah.
Passan, the guy from ESPN, was talking about it the other day on Pat McAfee. I watch a lot of Pat. And he was talking about how that sort of opened up, people's interest in baseball this year, because the big thing with the WBC, it provided people, number one, something to watch before the season started. And when it's sort of like the Olympics, when you create that identity with people's country to their, a team they follow, it's that sense of nationality. And we tend to, even if there's like players on the team that we hate because they're on our arch nemesis, like any kind of Las Vegas Raider, now is playing on a team that's, let's say there's an American football team, they play that in the Olympics. I would like those Vegas players, even though I hate the Raiders with a passion. I will actually root for them if they played for an American team. So that sense of nationality brings people together. And now it's like, Brandon, you said the Venezuelan team had won. Now I'm interested to see how some of these players will do for the Braves. And I can't stand the Braves because they're in the same division as the Marlins, and they've been so consistent, so good for so long. I want to get my piece of the pie. Even though I think we have more World Series wins than you guys.
Hold
7.
on. Wait a minute.
Here we go. All
Yeah,
right.
let's not go there, Blair. I don't. We talked my pain with the Marlins and Levon Hernandez in the previous pod, so I can't do it again. Too much pain.
Well, I got a problem.
Yeah.
I got a major problem. And I think
Okay.
maybe, Blair, we're HR guys. We're HR guys, and you're HRIS guru. I got a problem.
Can't fix your
Problem.
speakers.
Got a problem with Major League Baseball. I got a bone to pick. And I'm going to, yeah. So they're using this year something called robots, robot umpires, ABS. So the Major League Baseball, those you don't know, not familiar with it, they're using challenge system for balls and strikes. Not full robot umps yet. So it's kind of a hybrid system. There's 2 challenges per game, per team. You got to be, it must be immediate. So you can't delay. You got to do it right then. They're using a tracking tech called, I think it's called a Hawk Eye system, for what I remember.
Yeah.
So baseball seemingly is trying to fix its biggest problem without losing its identity. The problem I have, accuracy versus tradition. So you're probably going to lose catcher framing. You're going to probably lose umpire personality. But are we improving the game or sterilizing it? That's kind of my question. But I got the question I have, Blair, since you Mr. Baseball, I got a problem. If it's the 9th inning, who do you trust more, a human or a machine?
Yeah, I'm a traditionalist. I like the idea. I mean, we're all, whether it's a ref and basketball, umpire and baseball, everyone's going to argue strikes and balls. I do it all the time. You're watching the game and you got the big old box there on the screen and they throw the pitch and you can see it being tracked and boom, it's low and outside and the umpire calls a strike and you're like, what? I just kind of still feel that you said it perfectly, Joseph. It's the personalization. It's
Yeah.
Can you imagine going to the ballpark, Brandon, and you're sitting there watching the Braves versus the Marlins, and we got a gun that's sitting there behind for the home plate or some sort of screen that's watching, and then they show up on the board or something, strike, and they'll probably do some little goofy cartoon character going, where they strike him out, punch him out.
Yeah.
That wasn't
what if they did Frank Drebin from Naked Gun? Just had a little cartoon doing the dance or something.
Yeah. So
I'm a traditionalist, and it's sort of like if you ever watch the ACC basketball or football.
Yeah.
Was it the football? Yeah, it was I can't remember. It was football. It was football or baseball, basketball. I'm sorry. They actually on TV broadcast, they go behind the scenes and show the studio where they're calling when they have to go to the sideline and get a video replay. The ACC shows. I think it's got to be basketball. That just makes sense.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I can't recall, and my brain's just shut down on that. But I thought it was so cool that you could see the discussions being held by the in-studio group. So like guys like Steve Tessitore or whatever his name is for CBS or NBC, they don't have to go to him and say, so what do you think? And he's like, well, and then he's wrong. No, you get to listen to the actual guys.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see in baseball. Let's hear the discussions. That was very cool. It might not be quite so exciting because, I know bringing an AI or a robot in, it might get things right, but someone's gonna find something wrong with that, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Allow it to, as you said, Joseph, when there's they challenge it, they throw their little challenge flag in.
Yeah.
That's when you bring it in. It shouldn't replace the umpires. That's just.
But it seemed like we're going in that direction. Just be honest,
the quote unquote problem is the cameras and television are so the technology is so good
Yeah.
that the viewer at home is going to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we know when it's a first down or not. We have
That's
the
right.
yellow line, right?
That's right.
In
Yeah.
tennis, we know whether the ball is in or out because I think they use Hawkeye technology.
Yeah.
They do.
It kind of
Blair
started
and
with
our
them.
soccer,
It seemed like it started with them, Brandon. You're right. I think it
I
started
think
with
it did,
tennis.
yeah,
Yeah.
many years ago.
Yeah.
And Blair and I are soccer fans. The technology is going to show if somebody's offside,
That's right.
and
right.
it'll show definitively, right?
Yeah.
I think what we need to get rid of it is basketball because these are subjective calls. Like if it's goaltending, maybe you can figure that out. But if it's a black charge, that's just on the ref. Let's stop going to the review center about that.
Yeah.
But I think I'm okay with it now. I agree with you guys. I don't want a robot calling every pitch.
Right.
I will say maybe this should be something in the playoffs because I'm a Braves fan. You all probably remember in the 90s, the Braves had a really legendary pitching staff. Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, Steve Avery, just really good. And the problem is those guys pitched on the margins.
Yeah.
So come playoff time, that pitch that was a strike in the regular season all of a sudden was a ball.
Yep.
And they lost their effectiveness.
Yep.
So I wouldn't mind seeing it, but
Yeah.
you know what? I agree with you guys. Let's keep the human element in the game because the debating about this stuff is half the fun.
Absolutely. And so it speaks to what I guess we can all agree on is the evolution of the game. We're going to wrap it up with this segment. Speaking of evolution of the game, one of the things that have really changed all of sports, it's changed all of sports and not just football. This story really, I think in our text thread that us three have, we talked about this, and we want to bring it to you guys, fans of culture of the game. All right, our text beyond the tape. Patrick Mahomes, who suffered, I believe, an ACL, I think an ACL
LCL.
and an LCL, right?
Tore other ligaments, yeah.
Yeah, tore ligaments in his leg. He was out, doing some pass and catch. I mean, and this didn't happen that long ago. And that's a big
December.
deal for the Kansas City Chiefs, but it speaks to a bigger thing. There are faster recovery timelines now, advanced rehab, data tracking. You got your treatments like, what is it called? PRP therapy. You have your biomechanics and analysis. And we're watching athletes recover faster than ever. And it's changing how teams manage risk. So I guess for me, it seemed like in some cases that players are coming back too fast. I really think that. Now, I think, we're grateful for modern medicine. But where do y'all sit with that? Do y'all think that players are coming back too fast?
I think,
Go ahead, Brandon.
well, I was just going to say, jumping in real quick is I am so interested in Jason Tatum.
Oh my God, yes.
Because this guy he tore his Achilles in the playoffs in May. It actually was the same day as my daughter's graduation from high school.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
And what I remember about when you think about Achilles and the history of the NBA, that used to be the career ender.
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas tore his Achilles, he retired.
Yeah. Yeah. That was it.
That's what players did in the 80s and 90s. They tore their Achilles. I'm out.
That was it.
Fun.
For sure.
We've seen players come back from Achilles tendons. Probably the best case example is Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
But Klay Thompson too. I mean, maybe Klay is not the old Klay, but he has recovered from that.
Absolutely.
So there was a big deal made out of the fact that he had his surgery done maybe within 24 hours of the injury.
Yeah.
And by one of the best surgeons because he was in New York City, and apparently doing the surgery before the swelling is a big deal when it comes to recovery.
Yeah.
So yeah, I you know what? If the player is going to be playing basketball anyway, or if they're going to be playing their sport anyway, I don't mind it. I think it's possible, but I always have the fear in the back of my head that, speaking of Klay Thompson, he tore his ACL, and as he was trying to recover and come back, then he tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
So you always worry about a player favoring one leg over the other or changing their gait and then leading to other injuries. So you cross your fingers, but
Yeah.
look, medicine has changed, guys.
Yeah. It has. For sure.
And so we have to acknowledge that things have improved over time. So what do you think, Ware? Yeah.
It's funny, Joseph, because I was talking to Blake. Blake's my son, for those who don't know, and he's been shadowing some orthopedic doctors here as he's trying to make his way into the medical field. And he was telling me that he was working with a foot doctor, an ankle doctor, and she was telling him that there's new grafts that they use that are synthetic, and they help support the ankle better than the current uses where they would, maybe pull something from your body, to replace. I'm not a medical person, or they get donation tissues from others. But that synthetic graft that they use, in addition, as I'm understanding what he was telling me, um, it makes the ankle more stable, and so it keeps it stronger, so that it also helps the ankle to heal faster. And I was just like, well, Jesus, that's pretty crazy, because if you did something to your ankle, more times than not, you're not coming back, or you're coming back with a long recovery time. And as we've seen people with ankle problems, they immediately go right back, and boom, they're out again. I'll just use another example closer to home, and I'll put this in perspective. In the last year, my daughter, who plays high school soccer, and between Houston High School, Collierville High School, and Briarcrest High School, about 16 young ladies, student athletes, have had ACL injuries, and they've
Yeah.
all come back within they're back on the field within 5 months, just doing light running and all that. Within just the 6 or 7 months, they're kicking ball, and by 9 months, they're playing again.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
mind-boggling what surgery and technology can do to bring them back to the field. So, I just see that they're coming back sooner. Athletes are coming back sooner because the therapy is better. It's more innovative. The recovery times and the surgery, it's less invasive. I know a young lady who just had ACL surgery 2 days ago, and she was home the same day. ACL surgery,
Oh,
home
wow.
the same day.
Wow.
So, yeah, I look at it, these major league or these professional sports athletes, they're obviously at another level, and they're putting their bodies through the ringer. So
Yeah.
sometimes I do wonder they're coming back too soon. I can't
Yeah.
believe Tatum is back and playing, and it's like he hasn't left the game. If
Yeah.
Mahomes comes back, Parker, as you were saying, for OTAs in May, and he's moving and he's got that, we're talking 6 months.
Yeah,
That's
man.
that's ridiculous. I'm
Yeah.
sure they won't,
it's crazy.
once OTAs come, they'll shut him back down.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, because he's one of the greatest ever to do it. We're watching history, and,
Yes.
and we don't want him to. Oh, he's cheering. The sidebar, you all. Blair's cheering because Duke pulled it off against St. John. So,
My boy Shire's up there.
oh my goodness. Anyway,
Bye
listen, you
bye,
all.
Patino.
Listen, you all, we are out of time, but we're not out of takes. All right. Thank you for joining us tonight. Share this with someone. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, IG. Yep, it's right here. It's right here, right here, right here. All right. Listen, I'm going to usually pass it off, but I'm going to give the leadership take for tonight as we get ready to go. And it made me think about Shamika Holesclaw. You know, greatness isn't just about talent. It's about how you handle the weight that comes with it. We was talking about Shamika Holesclaw, and she was one of the greatest college players we've ever seen do it. She was dominant, decorated, literally unstoppable, as we was talking about. But her story reminds us, ladies and gentlemen, that even the strongest performers can carry pressure people don't ever see. So as leaders and people out there leading, we have to understand that just because someone is producing at a high level doesn't mean they're okay. So success, as we can often say, we're corporate, right? It doesn't eliminate pressure; it often increases it. So it's not just about reaching greatness; it's about sustaining it, but also being able to deal with the mental strain, expectations, and constant spotlight that comes with it. So, hey, Brandon, Blair, we got through another one. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
We're so
Yeah.
excited, and we hope to see you next week, Thursday, Friday, Thursday for sure. We won't do it on
Thursday.
Good Friday. All right, Thursday.
That's
All
right.
right.
For
All right,
sure.
we'll see you next. We'll
Yeah.
see you next week. Listen, share this with somebody. Everybody have a good night.
See ya.
Night all.